just want the whole world to know about I love you, and I'll never try to hurt you. I want you to know that I'm here for you forever true, 'cause you're my...
I grew up in Punta Gorda. I spent most of my life in Punta Gorda. At the age of 5, I entered St. Peter Claver Primary School. Back then we did not have preschool, so you would go straight into Infant 1. And I could clearly remember that my teacher at the time was a nun by the name of Sister Mercedes. She was a loving person as I could recall, but I could also recall that the Infant 2 teacher, whose name will remain mentionless, but who I dreaded quite a bit. And so at the end of Infant 1, when my mom decided that she would move the family to Belize City for school, I was one of the most happiest child I guess in the world. Because then I wouldn't have gone into Infant 2. So at the age of 5 going to 6, we moved to Belize City, where I attended school at St. Joseph Primary School. It was really a culture shock for me. And when we were talking about the early 70s, for example, the various cultures were not very tolerant and accepting of other cultures. And so, you know, that was always something that affected me, especially during those young years. After having stayed in Belize City for 2 years, we went back to Punta Gorda town, where I continued my primary school education. From primary school, I went into high school. At the time, Claver College, that was the only high school in Toledo district. At the end of that 4 years, my parents did not have the money to send me on to sixth form. At the time, there were only 2 sixth forms in the country, SGSC and Belize Technical College and sixth form. I was employed for about 10 months with the Ministry of Education as a second-class clerk. So I applied for St. John's College. I was accepted. And so I went to sixth form, graduating 2 years thereafter with a with an associate's degree in art. At the end of those 2 years at sixth form, having graduated, I decided that I wanted to get a fairly decent job. So I applied to Belize Social Security Board, and fortunately I was accepted. And that took me through almost 14 years of my life working with Belize Social Security Board, starting at the level of first-class clerk and moving up to middle management level as a district manager. I recognized that I needed to do something that would have the effect of making me someone that can largely call my own shots. And I think the only way for me would have been for me to start my own business. And while that is as challenging as it is, nevertheless it is very rewarding. And at the same time, it has helped me to grow, to be a different person, a stronger person, a resilient person. You know, someone who can show that he or she has certain standards that they can live by, that they have certain things that they can assist with and, you know, help support community and things like that. I firmly believe if you are given certain things, you should give back certain things. And so that is the heart of my social responsibility agenda. I have been very involved in my community over the years, despite being very, very busy in my two businesses. But nonetheless, two key areas that I'm involved at this time is with the Toledo Association of Businesses. I am the president of that organization. That is an organization that leads the private sector in Toledo. It's still a fledgling organization. We're working on it. But also, the bigger area of contribution is with the Battle of the Drums, which is an initiative, actually. It's a movement. And it is a response to the deterioration that I saw in my culture when I moved back to PG in 1998. So the Battle of the Drums, while it is an international drumming competition and show where we invite groups from all over Belize and neighboring Guatemala and Honduras, actually it is a fundraiser because the funds generated from that particular event are reinvested into Garifuna cultural retrieval and preservation as the response to the deterioration in the culture that I saw back in 1998. We have, just to name a few, at the children's level, we have an annual summer camp where we teach about the culture. We have an annual primary schools Garifuna translation contest, which helps to build capacity in Garifuna language. We have a drumming in schools program where we teach young children between the ages of 5 and 13 drumming, Garifuna drumming. I'm always seeking new ventures and new things, both in terms of what I could do as an individual business person and also what I could do in terms of giving back to my community. So as long as God continues to give me the strength to move ahead, I will continue to be that person.
And I'll never try to hurt you. I want you to know that I'm here for you forever true.